My name is Sylvia. I'm passionate about languages, English in particular. Welcome to my world of English. My life is demanding. I am well aware that your lives are equally demanding. When I say demanding, what I mean here, of course, is this combination of professional lives and family lives. Everybody who is professionally active, they know how difficult it is to have the family, to run a company, to go to work every day, to stay successful at work, and also to have a successful family life. So instantly, everybody needs to know how to organize their time, how to be successful in the area, and how not to go mad and crazy at the same time. So you know that there is this baby on board, and naturally, when the baby came, my life changed, and also the whole organization of the day changed as well. Today, I'd like to tell you some bits about this organization. Well, I'm not really sure if I'm going to provide you with any solutions, but I'll just tell you what I do, how I survive the day. But of course, what we are going to do here is we are going to do it through English and through expressions in English, because the podcast and the ideas for these recordings, these meetings with you, are based on some real life situations. And I have noticed that many of my students have problems when it comes to describing their everyday activities. So again, even when they are advanced, even when they can talk about their jobs, their hobbies, even when they are very good at presenting their ideas connected with their hobbies, with their work, they still cannot talk about their private lives, or they cannot talk about their everyday situations. And this is also something that we need, because language is for communication. Language is a tool, and it needs to be effective. It needs to be successful. This communication needs to be successful. So, as I said, today we will be talking about everyday activities. And also, I'd like to introduce to you one interesting everyday activity connected with something very natural. I mean, connected with eating, because my son has just started to eat regular foods. And I've got, I hope, this interesting story behind it. And so that will be the first part of the meeting. And the second part of the meeting, it will be these household chores that make our lives complete. And now, as I pronounce the word chore or chores, I am thinking about the spelling of the word, and I know that there is a lot of trouble when it comes to proper pronunciation of the word. Well, the positive situation is, or the better situation is, when you make a horse out of it, like the animal, right? There are some people who write horses, but there are also other people who don't know how to pronounce the word chore, and they would pronounce it in the way that is vulgar. I'm not going to use the word, but everybody instantly knows the word I am intending to produce here. So please remember, pronunciation is very important. And here we have this very important example that there are household chores, the duties, the things that we cover, if not every day, but definitely at least once a week, every other day. So let me just come back to this element of eating, of food preparation, because I told you that there is going to be this element about food. So what I have come up with, or what I have decided to do, what we have decided to do, is we decided to make use of the BLW method when it comes to this introduction of regular foods to our baby son, baby boy. And the people who take care of him, so of course this is us and also other people, so the carers, the family members, nannies or babysitters. I use the word nanny and babysitter because I would like you to know the difference between these two words. Nanny is this person who is certified. So nanny is this person who is prepared professionally to take care of children. So when I say the word nanny, I instantly think about these nannies that you can meet in Great Britain. So they are well prepared. They know how to bring children up, and they will be there always to give you some helping hand. On the other hand, a babysitter is just the person who is willing to stay with your child and who wants to help you when it comes to taking care of the child. But a babysitter does not have any professional qualifications. A babysitter is just a young girl, usually. Well, it can be also someone who is a bit older than just a young girl, but we often ask neighbors, right? Or we often ask the people we know to stay with our children when we are at work. So there are nannies and there are babysitters. So all the people who take care of our son, including ourselves and the family members and the nannies and babysitters, they have to know the idea of the BLW method. And BLW stands for baby-led weaning. I wouldn't be myself if I didn't explain the whole phrase to you, because any phrase or any expression that is there in English is a perfect opportunity to learn some new vocabulary. So, of course, you need to understand what it means. What is the translation? Of course, I'm not going to give you the translation of it, like immediate translation into Polish, but I'll explain, I'll tell you what these particular words mean. So the word baby is obvious, and then we've got led. Of course, led comes from the word lead. So we've got like lead, led. And if we say that something is baby-led, it means that the baby decides. So the baby tells us what we are supposed to do or how we are supposed to do it. The third word in the phrase is weaning. And I hope you can hear this little difference in pronunciation. So what I said is wean, not win. Win, one, be the best, be the winner. But wean is spelled W-E-A-N. And according to Longman Dictionary, and here comes another story, Longman is this Bible. For me, this is where I get my knowledge from. But really, if there is a word I don't know, and of course, there are words that I don't know or expressions, because I keep learning English my whole life. And if you decide to learn the language, you will have to do it yourselves as well. So there is not a moment that you can say that you know the language perfectly, because 100%, because there are still new words coming. So any good speaker of English will have to study the language all the time, and this is what I do. So if there is a word or expression that I don't know, I always look it up in the Longman Dictionary. Is this monolingual dictionary? So it's this English dictionary, where we have the word, the explanation, the pronunciation, and a sentence example. And according to Longman Dictionary, the word wean means to gradually stop feeding a baby or young animal on its mother's milk and start giving it ordinary food. So this is what we are trying to do right now. Of course, when there is a word that you want to get to know, you should always look up its meaning, the basic meaning, but also the figurative meaning. And of course, there is this figurative meaning when it comes to the word wean, because the phrase is to wean somebody off or from something. And once again, another definition from the Longman Dictionary is to make someone gradually stop doing something you disapprove of. And the sentence example that they have there is advice on how to wean yourself off nicotine. So let me come back to the phrase. The phrase is baby-led weaning. And if you know what I have just said, if you understand what I have just said, it means that the baby decides when he or she wants to stop eating milk. And all the people who are listening to me right now would say, how is that even possible? That the baby who is 6 months old or the baby who is 7 months old will know what they want to eat, how they want to do it, and when they want to do it. It seems like a revolution, or it seems like a very new method, but in fact, it is not a very new method. So it's actually coming back to this idea of what we knew before the jars. So I know that one option is eating from a jar or preparing these mashed foods for the child, and I'm perfectly all right with it. But we have decided to use this method, the baby-led weaning method. And I'll tell you just in a second what it looks like. So when it comes to organization that I introduced at the very beginning of this recording, it is a mess because you have to have a lot of time to spare for the meal with a child, but the presumed result that is going to come is that the baby is going to learn very fast how to eat regular foods, and they are not fed, meaning I do not push my son to eat anything, but it is him who decides what he wants to eat. It looks very funny because you give the little child, the baby, different foods. They have their different texture and they have their different color. Of course, the shapes have to be provided in a special way because the baby has got their little hands and they need to touch it, they need to hold it, and they need to put that particular food into their mouth. So obviously, the shape of this food has to be proper in order for a child to do it. But we, of course, think about it and we prepare it beforehand. So you give the child this choice, and he or she decides what kind of food, what kind of fruit, or what kind of vegetable they like. Maybe they like the color, or maybe they like the shape of it. I have to tell you that broccoli is a superstar because the vegetable looks very interesting. It's all green. It has these very lovely fringe, I call it. It looks very interesting for the child, so he will instantly grab it, instantly want to put it into his mouth. So broccoli is the star, I have to tell you. So he looks at different vegetables, at different fruit, at some piece of bread, and at an egg, all the things that are there, and he decides what he wants to eat and how much he wants to eat. Well, I'm sure for some people it might be a bit shocking, but I have to tell you that it works, and it works perfectly. The baby is happy. The baby has never ever refused to eat. He has a lot of fun out of it, and we also have a lot of fun. And you wouldn't believe how fast it changes. I mean, how fast he learns what to do with the food. Because right now, or at the moment when we started, he didn't know naturally that the food that is there on his plate, that it is something that will make his stomach full naturally. Yes? So a baby would rather just play with the food and would rather want to put it into his mouth out of curiosity. Because this is what they do. This is their natural behavior, right? They put everything into their mouths. So it is, as I said, it is hilarious. There is a lot of fun. The meals are very pleasant, actually, because it is not this war zone element. We do not fight with him. And I have heard that it might look this way, that we might end up fighting with our baby when it comes to feeding him. But there are no situations like that. He eats what he likes. If there is this vegetable or if there is this fruit that he doesn't like, for instance, or any other food that we provided him with, he's just allowed not to do it. And I have to tell you, for some reason, we will have to keep observing this, but the least liked vegetable that he got was a tomato. He looked at a tomato. I don't know why. Tomatoes are rather attractive, I would say, right? The color, the shape. But he looked at it. He tried to touch it. He managed to put something into his mouth, but he wasn't very happy about it, so he left it. They say that if a child doesn't want to eat a particular kind of food, it means that they do it for a reason, because they've got very amazing instincts, their own instincts. And if they don't want to eat a given type of food, it means that perhaps they are allergic to it, or perhaps there is something wrong about it, right? Of course, as young parents, we want to provide our son with the best kind of food, and we look for natural foods. But sometimes we know, right, it's not possible to do it all the time. So maybe the tomato was just too chemical for him, right? You know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about pesticides or something. So there was a reason, but this tomato is not a star, but broccoli is a star. So just summing up, I will tell you that it's a great thing. If you are thinking about introducing something like that to your children, please have a try. Of course, I'm still waiting for the end result. I'm in the process of introducing the foods, but I hope the end result will be what we want. So he will learn faster, he will be more open to new foods, and he will not be a fussy eater. If you are a fussy eater, it means that you do not want to eat certain foods. It is very rare for you to find something that you like. We know the situation, and all the parents who are listening to me right now, they know what I'm talking about, because it is a nightmare for a parent to feed a baby who doesn't want to eat, and then you have to come up with all these different ideas, all these different foods. But in our case, really, you don't have to do it, because we cook dinner, we prepare dinner for ourselves. And it is exactly the same kind of food that we give to our son, except, of course, there is this limited, or actually there is no amount of sugar, right? No amount of salt, because these are very bad for a little body like a baby's body, and they are equally bad for the body of an adult. So we are benefiting actually from it, cutting down on the amount of salt and sugar that we consume. So, as I said, this is the BLW method, and I kind of started in a tricky way talking about the organization, because when it comes to organization with this method, it actually takes more time. But on the other hand, it really requires a lot of organization from us, because when it comes to breakfast, right before we start the working day, of course, we have to prepare everything beforehand to be ready for the child to eat, and also to clean it all up, because, as I said, it is a real mess when the baby plays with food and just throws it away because he is too little to grab anything. But as I said, for myself, my perspective is that it looks absolutely fantastic. And talking about the activity, so I started with food, or I started with food preparation. And there are other things that we do. Either every day, depends on the household, or we do it every week, twice a week, depends on how you do it. So when it comes to food and this food preparation, of course, these expressions are rather easy, right? Because everybody knows that you eat breakfast, right? That you eat dinner, supper. Please remember, however, that if you use the food or type of meal and then you say like you eat it or you have it, there is no article. It happens very often. Of course, I'm not going to repeat it because I will make a mistake here. And this is a key thing to remember. If you're studying a language, you are not allowed to repeat mistakes, right? And a teacher shouldn't repeat mistakes. Of course, we can do it sometimes just to show a different perspective, but rather it's something that shouldn't be happening. So I'm not going to repeat this mistake. Just remember that when you talk about food, about eating it or preparing it or having it, there is no article. So you eat breakfast, you have supper, you have lunch. And here there are the two verbs like eat and have. And they are interchangeable, which means that you can either say like I eat breakfast at 7 or I have breakfast at 7, but still when you use the verb eat would rather focus on this true or real activity of consuming the food. When it comes to have, you would rather describe the whole activity, right? So when you say that you have breakfast, it means that there is this family who is together, that there is this coffee afterwards that is involved, right? That you sit at a table, that you talk, possibly that you listen to the radio in the morning. So have would rather describe the whole activity. Eat is just this consumption of food. There are people who drink different liquids when it comes to their breakfast thing that I'm talking about. And there are people who will start their day, or they will start a breakfast with tea, like myself. And there are also people who will start it with coffee. Some people just drink water with lemon, for instance. But there is a phrase connected with tea. Well, make tea, yeah, that's easy. Everybody knows it. But not everybody knows that you can also brew tea. Those of you who have listened to the episodes of the World of English podcast before, they know that I have already introduced this word brew, but I introduced it in the connection of beer. Yes, so you brew beer, which means that you produce it. So that is for any beer lovers. But you also brew tea, which means that you put this tea bag, for instance, right, or tea leaves into the cup, and then you pour some hot water and you wait for the tea to be ready. So this is the activity, you brew tea. Lunch. Yes, I introduced this word. I have talked about food. Very easy, again, very simple, and still a little bit problematic, because you make a mistake, you meaning students, meaning speakers of English, you make this mistake between lunch and launch. Let me say it again, let me say it out loud. Lunch is the meal, launch is the verb. Well, it can be a noun as well, but launch means to start, yes? You can launch a campaign. The basic meaning, the basic context for the word launch is launch a rocket. So this is what NASA does. For instance, they launch rockets every now and then. Don't mix the pronunciation. Lunch versus launch. Pronunciation is important. There was another episode about it. And you have to know the difference between lunch and launch, between wean and win, between sheep and shep. They are really different words. And if you talk to a true Britishman, you would need to know this difference. Okay, enough about the food. So we have talked about the baby-led weaning method. We have talked about food preparation, breakfast, and lunch, supper. But there are other, as I said, activities that you perform on a regular basis. And I'm sure that all of us hate this little thing, this little film of dust that appears on the furniture, on our furniture. So many people know that dust is this proper name for this kind of thing, but not many people know that this is also a verb. So if you say that you dust your furniture, it actually means that you remove it from the furniture. I hate it myself, don't like it. So this dusting should happen really regularly in my house, and it should happen, I guess, regularly in any house, because it just makes the whole area look attractive and clean. So if you dust your furniture, it looks clean. Then you can move on to vacuuming. Vacuum, it means to remove all the dirt with a special machine, with a vacuum cleaner, from the floor. But, and I hope what I'm about to say, it'll help you to remember and to know the meaning of the word vacuum, because there is another meaning of the word vacuum, and it means void. And the void is like this empty space, empty area with nothing in, nothing there. I repeat it very often, that if you want to know a language in this respect, English. So if you want to know English, you have to understand it. You have to know where the phrases come from. You have to know the structure of it. You have to know and see the blocks of the language and how to put them together. I am not a fan of learning by heart. I have never ever learned anything by heart, and I have never ever learned the language by heart. So when I explain the meaning of the word like vacuum, and I tell you that this is the verb, but it can also be the noun, and the noun means the same as void, I hope that with these pictures, you just know where the words come from, and it is easier for you to remember, because this is the most important thing for myself. I want you to remember the words. I want you to know them. I want you to use them in real life, in real life situations. After dusting and after vacuuming, let's move on to doing the dishes. When it comes to the dishes, when it comes to washing the dishes, there are quite a few phrases. So let me repeat. The first one is do the dishes. Another one is wash the dishes. Then we have wash up, and we have do the washing up. So we've got at least 4 expressions to describe the activity that happens after a meal, right? So when we prepare this meal, obviously we've got a lot of dirty dishes, and we have to do something about them. So we have to clean them. So we can either do the dishes, we can wash the dishes, we can wash up, or do the washing up. Of course, many people have special machines that will help them perform the activity. And this kind of machine that is there to help us here is a dishwasher. And of course, many people mix when it comes to the language, of course, they mix it with the washing machine. So a washing machine has a different purpose, and a dishwasher has a different purpose. So if you want to have clean dishes, you would put them into a dishwasher. But a washing machine serves the purpose of doing the washing. So here comes another activity: do the washing or do the laundry. Don't forget about this expression. So if you have dirty clothes and you want them to be clean, you will do the laundry. Again, the usual procedure. There is the basic meaning of the word laundry or do the laundry, but there is also the figurative meaning. I like it very much, particularly. It is a nice play on words because it is money laundry. And money laundry, right, there can be a company or there can be an organization that deals with money laundry. And of course, it means that there is this money that is obtained illegally, and somehow it just goes through the company, and when it leaves the company, when it is spent, it is, so to say, clean. It is a very illegal activity, happens, unfortunately. It's a crime, and this crime is described, is called money laundry. Make the bed. That's another expression. I was asked about this expression not long ago because someone was describing their daily routine to me and they didn't know how to call it, how to describe it, right? So now you know, right? So the activity that you perform is called make the bed, and then it's all perfect. It's all ready to go. Let's continue with the cleaning, because the household chores are very often connected with cleaning. And I have introduced this vacuuming to you, and this is what we do because it is faster, because it is more precise. So when there is a lot of dirt, everybody would rather vacuum the floors. But if there is this little dirt on the floor, we can sweep the floor. Yeah, sweep, swept. A nice word, sweep the floor. And when it comes to the figurative meaning, because there is usually this figurative meaning, the phrase that is nice to remember and worth remembering, it is sweep somebody off their feet. I enjoy it very much because it is connected with feelings. It is connected with what can happen when two people meet and they make this great impression on each other. So if there is this fantastic woman, she can sweep a man off their feet, and the action can be performed vice versa. So I'm sure you have met such people in your lives that when you meet them, you just instantly fall in love, or you instantly feel this connection because they sweep you off your feet. The word sweep, or actually swept, can be used to talk about hairdos. There was an episode about hair, about Antoine de Paris, and there is this hairstyle that can be described this way. So you can have swept back hair. So it would be the opposite of a fringe. I hope you remember the expression fringe, infringe the law. So when there is this hair that covers your forehead, you would call it a fringe. But if there is no fringe, it means that your hair is swept back. There you go. A couple of expressions, hopefully very useful, as I always try to provide you with some useful expressions. Let me just go through them once again. So it would be to dust, to vacuum, do the dishes, wash up, or do the washing up. Do the washing. Remember, that's another activity. Do the laundry, make the bed, have coffee or drink coffee. We talked also about tea, so we can brew tea. Then there is lunch, and don't please confuse the word with lunch. And there is one more expression, something that we can actually do outside our houses, but I would also call it a chore, like this everyday chore that we have to perform. So if we have these animals at home, if we have pets, we need to walk them. Well, with cats, it is not necessary, but with dogs, it is necessary. So if you have a dog, you would walk your dog. Guys, I just hope that the expressions that I have introduced, that they will make your lives easier, because now you will know how to describe these household chores and everyday chores. And I also hope that the BLW method is something that interests you or interested you. And maybe you want to carry out some research. Maybe you want to find out something. There is a lot of research on how the method proves to be working. If you have little babies, if you're thinking about it, please have a try. I'm telling you, it works fine with me. I hope if it will work with you. Enjoy, guys. Enjoy the everyday life and keep learning English. Bye-bye.